What's up everyone, it's Hunter here, back with another video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We just passed that 100 mark. I think as of this video, we're at 104. Thank you guys so much for following me along. We've been doing a lot of med school content, and today I wanted to get back a little bit to the roots of this channel, which is fitness. So here we're back at Motivera 360 in Elkhorn, Nebraska, doing a workout with Marin. But then I'm also gonna talk about financing med school and how much it costs to go to med school. So stay tuned and we'll hit the rest of this workout and then get to the numbers. Give a huge shout out to Marin for that workout because she was hating life, but she stuck it out. And even though I was being annoying, making her film everything, she still did it all. I was late to start my watch, but I just finished it here. So it was an hour and 15 minutes on the watch, 1,000 calories burned. It was probably, how many calories do you?
Like 400.
Okay, so our heart rates were like north of 160 for about an hour. Like I said, I started it a little late, so that was probably like an hour 20 plus a 5-minute warm up on the treadmill. So it's a pretty quick full body workout. I'm gonna have the entire list of everything that we did, the first thing in the description. So if you wanna try it out, it kind of sucked, but it was a great full body burn. So I also had to overlay some of my own music so that I wouldn't get dinged for copyright. So if you liked any of the music that you heard, the first link in my description is going to be for Epidemic Sound, which is where I source all of the music for my videos, including the outro song. And a little bit of a fitness update. So after the powerlifting meet, I decided I just wanted to take some time off. I might have done like a week of pretty much nothing in the gym. And lately we've been trying to get in 3 workouts in the gym per week, which are all just a full body session, with each different session throughout the week putting a little more emphasis on a single body part. And then we're trying to run 3 times a week as well. So still kind of chasing that 500-pound squat, sub 5-minute mile in one day that I mentioned in our Q&A video, but it's gonna be a little bit slower getting there. We've just been doing a lot of traveling and been busy with getting into med school, so I haven't been super prioritizing my training. but it is definitely still a goal that I want to achieve. I just don't know how attainable it will be while I'm studying for med school and whatnot, because I know it's gonna take longer than just this next month before I start school to get my fitness to where it needs to be able to complete that goal. So that's kind of just general fitness update and where we're at. I'm also still personal training, so if you would like a personal training workout program from me, hit me up. I'd be glad to help you out with whatever goals you have. We're gonna get home and eat. Marin has to head to work. I'm gonna shower, and then we can talk about numbers as far as financing med school and what it costs to attend med school. Okay, we are back. I realized that I forgot to film the shoulder press exercise, which was a shoulder press machine, and I have that listed in the workout description below. Sorry, Mav really wants to be in the video, so he's gonna be hanging out with me. Kai's outside, just minding her own business. We are going to go to the computer and address the question, how much does medical school cost? We'll do a little switcheroo so you can see what I am seeing. All right, so to start out, I figure I might as well just Google it, like what does med school cost? And according to my Google search, this first link kind of states it pretty well. So if you look at the cost of tuition, fees, and health insurance at allopathic med schools, so those are going to be your MD schools, your average for in-state public schools is $39,000, out-of-state public schools is $63,000, and then for private schools, it's $64,000. So that's looking at tuition, fees, and health insurance. Now, DO schools are going to be relatively similar to those, but there are more private DO schools, so on average, that number is going to be higher. But then when we look at what med school actually costs, it's going to be more than just your tuition, fees, and health insurance, because as med students, we can't hold down a part-time job to cover living expenses, or most people can't. There are different work-study options and things like that, but when looking at how much med school costs, you kind of have to look at an entire budget for what it's going to cost to live in addition to health insurance, fees, and tuition. So here I've pulled up it's the cost of attendance budget information for Des Moines University, where I'm going to be attending this fall. And here we kind of have the cost breakdown. Now, I'm not going to read through everything, but it just kind of shows, like, it breaks down your living expenses that they expect you to have, the transport and travel that anyone could be expected to have while living in Des Moines. Then there are books and equipment that we will have to purchase. That's there for $3,500. And then we get to the tuition, fees, and the health insurance was up here on the living expenses. That's $3,300 annually. So you get down to the rest of it, and you got tuition is $55, so that's lower than both the out-of-state allopathic school and the private allopathic school, under the average at least. But then I did have to pay for a drug screen and a background check when I was accepted. And then there are fees from loans when you have, they're called loan origination fees. So they take money from the loan that you pull out to pay for the fees associated with that loan. So the total cost of attendance for the first year of med school at Des Moines University is $84,747. So, I mean, if you multiply that by 4, you can see down here in year 4, it gets a little cheaper, but multiply 84 by 4 years, you're looking at over $330,000. Okay, so for my school, I had to apply for financial aid. I wasn't going to just pay for this out of pocket. So I have my financial aid award letter here. So I blocked out some of the personal information and information from the school, my student ID. But as you can see here, I have been granted the total cost of attendance in student loans. So I will be taking out $84,000 this year to go to school. $42,000 will be dispersed in the fall to pay for fall tuition and then fall living expenses. And then in the spring, when we get back to school, another $42,000 will be dispersed. So the way that works is that the money goes directly from, in this case, the government, but you can have private student loans. But in this case, the government will be paying Des Moines University $42,000. And whatever is left over after my tuition and associated fees have been paid for the semester, they will then give to me to spend on any of the living expenses and educational related expenses that I have. Mav, you're really getting in the way. So as you can see, I have taken all of the monies that they have offered me, but this is not how you would typically want to go about things. Now, the smart way to do it would be to, I'm gonna fight you. The smart way would be to make a budget and find out exactly how much it's going to cost for you to live, comfortably, and then only request that much money in financial aid, because taking out this extra money, if you don't really need it, you're gonna end up spending it on things that you don't actually need, and then you're essentially just using a low interest rate credit card. I mean, these loans are gonna be between like 5 and 7% interest, I'm guessing. So granted, that's better than using a credit card to make payments on things, but it's better to just not spend the money at all and not have this money that you're gonna have to pay back someday. So the reason, now after that kind of disclaimer, the reason I have taken out all of the money is because I have a undergraduate loan. In a second, I'm gonna show you this document, but I have an undergraduate loan with a 9.86% interest rate. So I am planning to use whatever money I have left over from this loan to pay off that loan. And simply that being, I'm going to save about 2% in interest by using this money instead of that money. And I will show you exactly what that loan looks like in a little bit. But that's just why I'm doing this. So for this first year, I'm going to take out this money. Marin will have some income as well that we will live off of. So after paying for our living expenses, whatever we have left over, we will be using for a small honeymoon fund wedding next July in 2022. And then anything left over after that is going to go directly at this private student loan that I have for my undergrad studies. I will do the same thing second year if that loan hasn't been paid off yet, but then after I pay off that private loan, I'm going to reassess our budget and only take out the amount of loan money that I need to be able to live while attending med school. And this definitely isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. This is just my 2 cents, gotta throw that disclaimer out there. If you find that could be a good approach for you, by all means, but I'm no professional. Take what I have with a grain of salt. So I'm very dedicated to being as transparent as possible on this channel, and there might be something down the line that Marin doesn't feel comfortable with me sharing, so at that point I would not disclose that information. But so far I've gotten the go-ahead to share as much as I want with you guys, so I'm going to be as transparent as possible. Now, finance and income and net worth have always been a very stigmatized subject. No one ever likes to talk about it, but me being as transparent as possible, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to break those stigmas, and this honestly even makes me a little uncomfortable because I find it quite embarrassing how much debt I currently have, but it's all been with this end goal of becoming a physician in mind. And if sharing this information will help someone who's in a similar situation feel a little better about it, that's all my goal is here. So prior to getting into medical school, I went to undergrad. It was a private university, and I have debt from that. I also have 2 master's degrees. I worked part-time during those, but expensive tuition, you typically don't get scholarships for master's degrees, and I had to take out living expenses as well. So here I have the documents that kind of show what my current debt is. So first we're gonna look at, this is the private student loan that I talked about from my undergrad education. So it is from Discover Student Loans. And as you can see, I took out $18,000 as a freshman at Creighton University, and that has a 9.865% interest rate, which absolutely absurd. This is highway robbery right here. So as we can see here, I have paid $6,700 and I now owe $23,000. So that is the art of the interest doing its work in a compound fashion. So that's my goal, is to just get this loan paid off as quickly as possible because it is just not doing good things for me financially. And then after that, I'll have all federal loans that I'll have better repayment options for in the future. So that is another reason I'm trying to get rid of this private loan. So then, aside from that, I have a bunch of loans through the government. And yes, so this is a huge number. $130,000 is what I currently owe. So I have Stafford loans from Creighton, from my undergrad degrees. So all of these loans, the Stafford loans, which also I could take out some money for graduate degrees, but most of those were my Graduate Plus loans. So with the Stafford loans, there's $71,000 there, and the interest rates, I edited this photo just to remind myself, the interest rates on these range from 3.67 to 6%, which are much more reasonable. And then Graduate Plus loans have a little bit higher of a percentage rate. So these ones were just for my master's degree programs. They kind of cover whatever expenses you have left after these Stafford loans are taken out. So those, I just have 2 loans, one's 20 grand, one's 30 grand, and they're between 7.08 and 7.6%. So that's everything that I have in student loans. All right, so that is the end of what's on here. So we're gonna close the computer, and Mav wants to go outside, so I'm gonna let him out. So if I didn't get into medical school this fall, I just had a lot of financial stress coming upon me with all those student loans that were coming due. We currently don't have any interest rate, don't have any payments until the end of September. And once September was over, if I didn't get into school, I would have over an $1,100 monthly payment to make on those loans. Now, because I was a student last year and didn't work a ton, my income qualified me for a $0 monthly payment on an income-based repayment plan. But I just really didn't like the thought of that, because even if I didn't have to pay any money, those loans are still accruing $600 worth of interest every month. And although that interest is still going to be accruing now that I've gotten into med school, it's much less burdensome to me in my mind, because I am making that next step toward my end goal of becoming a physician and having that as a career. And all of this debt will be worth it once I'm there. where before I knew that I was in med school, I really didn't know if I was eventually going to get here. And now I've just had this huge weight off my shoulders, knowing that eventually I'm going to get there and none of this will matter. Now, even if I didn't get into med school, I would have made this work. And when I say I mean very much wholeheartedly Marin and I would have made this work. Like, she has been so supportive and knows that I'm in this for the long haul, and she's willing to help provide for us for now, because in the future, everything will have been made worth it for both of us. So I can't thank her enough for the support so far, and we would have made it work, but now that stress is gone and we couldn't be more grateful for it. So now that we've gotten all of the numbers out of the way, I just wanted to take a minute to thank everyone who has subscribed so far. As promised, here are some clips, I don't know where I'm gonna put them, of the dogs this week. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen these, but they're just too funny not to share. So there are those. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're definitely gonna want to. It's just that little red button underneath the video. It can be kind of hard to find, but if you just click that and make that little number next to my name go up a little bit, I would really appreciate it. Next week's video is one that you're not gonna wanna miss. I'm gonna be in a lot of pain. Marin has undecidedly chosen, I don't know, she's on the fence on whether or not she's gonna do it with me, but it's going to be a fun video. You don't wanna miss it. And according to my analytics, 85% of the people watching my videos are not subscribed. So like, to me, that's really cool because my video is getting to a bunch of people who don't subscribe to me yet, and that's awesome. But at the same time, that subscriber number could be like way higher than it is. So like, if there's 200 people watching a video, that's 170 people that haven't subscribed. So like, what are you waiting for? And that's all that I have for today. If you've made it this far, drop a Top Gun quote down in the comments. I wanna see how many more Top Gun fans we have, and I wanna be able to show my love for your support. So let me know that you watched the whole video, and that's all I got. So we'll see you in the next one.